My video for November the 26th, 2019 is video number 3286. The title is Why Doubt is Not the Enemy of Faith. Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief. It was just a dream in my short afternoon nap. I saw a prison. Everyone in there was behind bars. The cells, row upon row, stacked layer upon layer, were filled with prisoners. One cell had a light turned on. A man in that one cell quoted a scripture from his memory, a scripture about belief. A lady on the far end cried out, "I believe." Others joined her. Soon the light started coming on. The place was beginning to light up. Yes, it was just a dream. I have many. Some I remember and some I don't. All my life I thought I was a believer, but my faith has obviously been lacking. Was my lack of results turning my faith into unbelief? It would seem so. As I lay on my bed pondering the dream, I knew I had to share this one. I'm not the only one crying out, "Lord, help my unbelief." Many through the ages have said the same thing. All of us have doubted, even those who deny their doubts. Humanity needs to experience individually and collectively actual fulfillment of faith, faith in action, faith that produces results in the here and now, not some nebulous future or on some other plane of existence. Will our cries be heard? Will we finally get answers? Will God help our unbelief? I probably laid in bed for close to an hour after I had that dream. Just things going through my mind, scriptures coming back. Of course, the one scripture, a man said, "I want to believe, but help me. I'm having trouble believing." And another said, "Just speak the word only, and it shall be done." And you don't have to. I don't need you to go to rescue my son. Just speak the word, and he'll be healed. And I think there was a comment about he hadn't seen such faith, and that was a supposedly a non-Jew that said that. He didn't find that kind of faith in all Israel. And of course, it was Israel at the time, or actually Judah, because that was the land of the Jews. The Israelites had already gone into captivity prior to that time. So it wasn't known as Israel, it was Judah. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, I guess. I have been struggling for a long time, and I have friends that were part of my spiritual family that have struggled as well. Some of them have become atheists. Others have become outspoken skeptics of having faith at all, realizing that something is wrong with this picture. And I'm talking about this picture being the here and now. Obviously, we have very dark entities that have risen up and taken control. Why would a loving God allow that when the ones that have risen up violate the free will of others through deception, through cunningness, and all sorts of things that are laid before us where we feel like we don't have a choice. And I have felt that way myself. I mean, I had to get a Florida driver's license if I wanted to operate my own vehicle, which the state has a claim against. That's wrong, folks. The state is an inanimate object. People run the state, but the state is supposed to operate on basic rules. And on the land, it's supposed to be common law, where every individual has a right to be heard, the rights were enumerated in what we call the Bill of Rights in the United States that I've talked about so many times in so many videos. But they are being violated. The right to keep and bear arms is being taken away, and some of the major cities, Chicago, you're not allowed to own a gun there, and yet they have some of the greatest gun violence anywhere in the United States. What's wrong with that picture? There's not supposed to be guns. Obviously, the criminals still have guns. Obviously, the police do as well. So there's a lot of things that challenge our faith. There's a lot of things that would make a lot of people throw up their hands and say, why bother believing? It's all a bunch of BS. It's all nonsense. And it seems that way. I have to say, yeah, it seems that way. So when I get a dream like this, the lights were coming on. People were beginning to see. And that's what I've been praying for, that somehow there would be an awakening, that the lights would come on, not in our physical jail cells, but in our mental jail cells, the prisons of our mind that have enslaved us generation after generation, going back eons perhaps, but certainly going back several generations in the current time window of the last few centuries, let's say. And we are not only no closer to achieving heaven on earth, we seem to be further and further away from it, as the people that claim control and exercise a level of control over the rest of humanity seem hell-bent on creating war, seem hell-bent on creating courts that don't allow people to defend themselves properly. Well, that's not permitted in this court. You're not allowed to say that. I mean, people that are defending themselves should be able to defend themselves without limitations. They should be able to present whatever evidence they feel is relevant to their case. And it should never be not admitted or not allowed by the so-called court. But the judges are just lawyers that have aligned themselves with a dark system that takes away human rights, and they're trying to take away even more rights. Every year they try to erode more and more of the natural rights of people, not just to defend ourselves, but to have a fair hearing and to present evidence based on our perception of what is needed for the evidence. Now, I watch a lot of these programs of the courts and stuff like that. I seem to watch portions of them here and there as I'm flipping through the channels, killing a little bit of time, which, as I've said before, I didn't watch any TV for a long time after I moved into the apartment. But lately, every once in a while, I do turn it on and watch sporting events and other things. And police detective type programs do seem to attract my attention, and court situations and stuff like that. And I'm flabbergasted at some of the things that I see that just don't make sense. And a lot of things don't make sense. Of course, when they're presenting it on TV, they're trying to make themselves look like the good people. But sometimes the people that wear badges and stuff are not good people. They are people that violate the rights of others. And there's been even cases of police that have been put on trial for murder. And of course, they said I was just acting under my orders, or fear of death. They've shot people without having any weapons on them, but they say, "Well, I thought there was a weapon." Give me a break. It's a tough world that we live in. I admit that. It's really hard trying to figure things out. So I'm not throwing stones at people that can't do it, but we do need to learn to love one another. And we do need something that's going to help our unbelief, something that's going to lift us up and give us evidence of things hoped for, not just promises that something in some nebulous future on some never land, we're going to have all of our needs met and we're going to understand it all by and by. Well, how about here and now? Thank you, folks, for listening, and namaste.